悪のハヤブサよ、逆境の中で研ぎ澄まされし爪を上げ、反逆の翼翻せ。エクシーズ召喚現れろ。ランク4レイドラプターズライズファルコン。
Yo, a little bit of a different video this time. First off, just a quick thank you to everyone who checked out some of the content beforehand. We got almost 10,000 views on just a couple videos, and so I'm gonna keep posting some more of those style of entertaining duels with music and memes and all that. But thanks so far for all the support. I wanted to do something a little bit different this time, which was try to take Raidraptors and see how far I can push them as an engine without Blackwing support and without Phantom Knight support and without any of those other boss monsters that you typically see, like Kali Yuga, Cyber Dragon Infinity, Time Thief Rador, Gaga Magician, all that stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, it makes the deck a lot better and a lot more competitive, but I wanted to see what could be done with just Raidraptor cards. And so I made a guide, which I'll have linked down in the description. But without further ado, let's kind of get started. This is going to be a guide on what I think you can kind of do with the deck, as well as some examples for combos and stuff like that. So starting out, I just want to highlight some weaknesses of pure Raidraptors. So for a pure Raidraptor deck, probably the two most glaring ones are the first two big bullets. You don't have to read all this. Basically, it says, from the boss monsters that Raidraptors have, you can't return any cards on the field, like that your opponent has. You can't return them to the hand or the deck, and you can't banish them. So Raidraptors, they specialize in just kind of destroying cards. So cards that boss monsters and stuff that are invincible to being destroyed, you're gonna have a hard time dealing with them, because the only other way you're gonna be able to deal with them is by battle. So the next one is going to be that there's no negates or interruptions. That's a big deal in competitive, Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're going to end up in your opponents, they're going to negate and interrupt you a lot. So you need to be able to find a way to play through it. And then you're not really going to have any on your side unless you decide to opt to add hand traps like Ash Blossom, Maxi, Call by the Grave, all that stuff. You could definitely add, your staples. Impermanence, you can add all that stuff in the deck if you'd like, but this is more of just a pure, like totally pure version of the deck. Blackwings are usually better just in general than Raidraptors as an engine, because you can XCN synchro summon with them because they're tuners. And then the last one is typically you see the Raidraptors played often with Phantom Knights, and that's just because they have such strong synergy. Phantom Knights add so much more to the deck that taking them out doesn't really make any sense. But if you're like me and you like to try to make things pure just for fun, it can be done, and that's what this video is about. So that's the only wall of text in the guide. The rest of it's just going to be images. So these are some cards that I want to bring up that are arguably not pure, because in their text they'll mention Phantom Knights, right? So this card is always treated as a Phantom Knight card as well as a Raidraptor card. So this is up to you. What kind of purist you are, whether you are okay with mixing in these kinds of cards, which are a little bit of a gray area. For me, this version of the deck, I usually make one without it and one with it, just kind of see how things go. But like I said before, Phantom Knights is probably going to be objectively better to just add in any of their support cards, especially Raider's Knight and Raider's Wing, and the rank up card that you see on the left here. All three of those are going to be really key in Raidraptor decks, but you can play without them. And then these are our pure Raidraptor rank up magic spells. You can take the time to look up each one, but some of them are a little bit faster, some of them are a little bit slower. They all kind of do different things, and I'll demonstrate them in the combo video. And pretty much the entire strategy behind the boss monsters for Raidraptors is all about ranking up your monsters, which is why we care about these so much. All right, now how do we get the rank up magic cards? Well, we get them by using our searchers, right? And so there's a couple different searchers in the deck, and then also within the Phantom Knight archetype, there's even more that allow you to search even more consistently and more often. But with just pure Raidraptors, this is what I was able to find in terms of our searchers. The cards that say slow just mean that you're not going to be able to get you're not gonna be able to use them to get the rank up cards before your battle phase. Typically, for the fast cards, you're able to get them, you know, and get them in your hand before you perform a battle. And so that's why you have our fast cards and our slow cards. Raidraptor Y-Strix is going to be our primary searcher in this deck, as you would expect if you know much about Raidraptors. These are your normal summon targets, right? So you have a hand, let's say, you know, you got a bunch of cards in them, and then you see these guys. These are going to be one of the cards that you want to normal summon. Typically, Tribute Lanius and Vanishing Lanius and Mimicry Lanius are your best targets for a normal summon. Necro, if really, you know, he's like kind of like a last resort for a normal summon. If you really, like, your hand is really thin on monsters, then you can normal summon him. Or if you want to use him later on in the duel, you definitely probably aren't going to use him on like turn 2 or, you know, 1 or anything like that. And then Raidraptor Lastrix is a really good card to kind of cheese out an XC summon and then rank him up. So there's no issues with normal summoning him. But you can special summon him with Vanishing Lanius if you want. And the whole Raidraptor archetype as well, it's kind of similar to Blackwings. Their idea is they want to swarm the field with monsters. And so a lot of these cards can be special summoned if a Raidraptor's already on the field. Or they can be special summoned in some other way. But for the most part, these are all your extenders. These are things that make your plays continue to go, right? And so there's just so many. As you see, Monster Reborn, that's just a staple that can be put in any deck for as an extender. But all these other cards, just so many options and so many potential combos to get to what you might want as a going second board. And by the way, I didn't mention in the beginning of the video, but this deck is a going second deck. It's not going to be a going first whatsoever. Just because with pure Raidraptors, you have those weaknesses I talked about where there's no negations, no interruptions, and you're probably gonna have to destroy things using destruction effects or by battle, and that's it. And then there's also ways to rank up, recycle your rank up magic as well. You'll see Necro Vulture is our primary guy we use to recycle rank up magic as well as the rank up card in the middle. I don't personally run the one on the right here, Astral Force, but you can. It allows you on your draw phase to draw that card instead of your regular draw phase, and it'll rank up by 2. There is generic wing support for wing beasts. I really like Swallow's Nest and Cattle's Call, specifically because they can be kind of used like mash change. Like if you know much about heroes, like you can use them in response to something. So let's say you throw down a monster and you activate its effect, it gets ashed, and then you just Swallow's Nest or you Cattle's Call, get rid of that monster, and then continue to make plays. Cattle's Call is going to be one of the ways that you can cheese out an Xyz monster from your extra deck. You just tribute a Winged Beast and you get an Xyz Winged Beast from the deck. All of its effects are negated and it gets destroyed by the end turn, but that doesn't matter because typically you're going to rank it up. Right, so you bring out a rank 4 or bring out a rank 6 or whatever, then you use a rank up magic and boom. Now you get to keep whatever card you had. And then Swallow's Nest is just another, you tribute the monster that's on the field and you can replace it with another monster of the same type. So in this case, Wing Beast, super useful cards here because they're quick play as well. And then Icarus Attack is just like an OG Wing Beast card. I don't personally run it, but you know, other people do. So it's good as well. Something to be aware of is that these cards lock you out of certain plays. So some of these cards are cards you're really only going to want to use in pure Raidraptor decks, namely Fuzzy Lanius, the second to last one, and then the last one, Raidraptor Call. These lock you into only Raidraptor special summons. So you're not going to want to use these cards in a deck that mixes archetypes like Phantom Knights. If you threw it in there, Black Wings, you don't want to use Fuzzy Lanius or Raidraptor Call because they're not going to let you use the other archetypes that are in your deck. Strangle Lanius in the middle there, he locks you to only dark monsters, and then rank up magic Astral Force locks you into only special summoning via rank up magic Astral Force. Raidraptor Necro Vulture, if you use his effect, he'll lock you into only special summoning via rank up magic cards. So these are all cards that can lock you out and really trick you when you're playing the deck, especially if you're a beginner. happened to me a whole bunch of times, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? But you definitely want to take, special care when using these cards, especially if you're mixing archetypes. Okay, so we have a bunch of different monsters in the deck, and sometimes your opponent has a monster that's, what's the word for it? I guess, he's invulnerable to being targeted, right? You can't target the monster. These cards here are all good options for that. Blaze Falcon is totally underrated. He can wipe all special summon monsters that your opponent has, destroying them, unless they're not allowed to be destroyed. But for the most part, it can totally clear an opponent's board. And then Raidraptor Revolution Falcon can... he has an ability that's a targeting ability, but his other ability is that it allows you to, when you're attacking a monster or when he's involved in a battle, it makes the opponent's monster attack 0 when it battles Revolution Falcon in a non-targeting fashion. So it's like, if the monster is not able to be targeted, but it battles Revolution Falcon, his attack will still go to 0, and that'll make you win the battle. And then Booster Strix is a hand trap that this deck has, where if your Raidraptor monster is involved in a battle, you banish this card, so you can't even call by the grave Booster Strix, which is a bonus. You can banish this card from your hand and destroy the attacking monster. It's not target and destroy, it's destroy the attacking monster. So if you're looking for non-targeting cards within the archetype, this is it. And then we have our targeting cards. These are the 4 kind of like targeting monsters that have destruction type effects, or I would say Raidraptor Rise Falcon, the first one here, is totally underrated. His ability is he could target a monster that an opponent has, and then he just gains that attack, right? So if the opponent tries to OTK you with Arc Rebellion, Exige Dragon, for example, and you survive it, on the next turn, you can summon Raidraptor Rise Falcon, and he'll no longer have the strongest card in the field. Because, typically a lot of opponents, they'll like summon out these gigantic monsters, and if you manage to survive their OTK attempt, you can make sure that you'll never have the lowest attack monster in the field. Raidraptor Rise Falcon will always give you the opportunity to be the strongest monster in the field, so he's good for that reason. Same thing with Raidraptor Revolution Falcon, like I told you about earlier. He'll always turn the attack of the monster to 0, which is a really useful ability. But his targeting ability on this card is you can target one ability or one monster that your opponent controls and just pop it. So that's super useful. Raidraptor Satellite Cannon Falcon, totally underrated boss monster as well. He's your Harpy's Feather Duster of the deck, but that's not why he's featured on this slide here. He has a second ability, which is you target a monster, and for every Raidraptor in your graveyard, that monster will lose 800 attack. So you can quickly turn a strong monster to 0 attack, no problem, with Raidraptor Satellite Cannon Falcon, and you can continuously chain his effect over and over and over. So if you only have, like, let's say 2 Raidraptor monsters in your graveyard, you can activate his effect multiple times in sequence to like lose 1600, until there's 0, if that's what you want. And then Stranger Falcon is another really good monster in this deck. He can just target a monster and pop it, and then whatever their attack was, the opponent will lose life points equal to that attack. So these are your targeting monsters. This is a whole list of cards that I would avoid in the archetype. I personally just don't run with them, especially the rank 3 cards. Like you'll see here, Raidraptor Skull Eagle, Fiend Eagle. There's just not enough support for rank 3 in this deck, so I personally wouldn't bother with rank 3s. Unless you personally like have an attachment, with one of these cards, maybe you saw it in the anime and you really like it, I wouldn't run them. Burner Falcon's okay, but adding another 4 Strix would just be better in my opinion. And these are your underrated boss monsters, right? So when you think Raidraptor, you think Ultimate Falcon, right? Like, he's the strongest monster in the deck. He's your boss monster. But these guys are all great in their own way as well. I kind of talked about some of their effects earlier. Raidraptor Arsenal Falcon is mostly known as the guy that helps you get Ultimate Falcon. But his ability, he has several abilities, and one of them is to get a level 4 Raidraptor from your deck straight onto the field. So that's really useful for cards that can't be special summoned or normal, and you want to normal summon them. You can just pull them straight from the deck onto the field. You'll see we do that a lot with Necro Vulture in him. And then if you pop him, you can obviously get Ultimate Falcon. But his other ability is, as many Raidraptor material monsters as he has, he can attack that many times. So he can be kind of an OTK machine on his own, and you may not even need to rank him up even further. He's our rank 7 guy, but we have a rank 8, which is Satellite Cannon Falcon, and rank 10 and rank 12. I think that's it. Yeah. So let's slide into the some of the tutorials for the combos. Okay. So I went ahead and hopped into a solo duel here, and this is an example of a going second hand, right? You always want to go second with this deck, just because there's no negations, there's no interruptions, and you can't do things like banish your opponent's cards or anything like that. So you want to go for second in this deck. So we have a lot of options. This is a great opening hand. Since there's so much rank up magic in the deck, you're bound to kind of start with one in your hand sometimes, and if not, we'll even have Sexy Old Construction here, which will let us get one. But what we can do is we can start with Vanishing Lanius. He's always a great normal summon because he lets you special summon another monster from your hand. Tribute Lanius needs to be normal summoned, so this would be a great way to get Tribute Lanius on the field. If you happen to activate his effect and he gets negated, that's what Swallow's Nest is for. We tribute him and we can bring out another Vanishing Lanius, or we can bring out another Raidraptor if, you know, for another reason. But let's assume he didn't get negated, right? Boom, right? Now we got 2 Raidraptors on the field, and we can use Tribute Lanius' effect and mill Mimicry Lanius to the grave, activate Mimicry Lanius' effect to let us search for a Raidraptor card from our deck and add it to the hand. The first time I use Mimicry Lanius every duel, I try to get Raidraptor Nest. This is a great continuous spell that you want to have on the field as often as you can. So we grab it, we activate it. If we have 2 or more Raidraptors on the field, we can get another one to the hand, which is exactly what we're going to do. And boom. Now we get, at this point, this is how the combo usually goes. You have 2 Raidraptors, and you want to get Heal Eagle to your hand. Why Heal Eagle as your 3rd Raidraptor on the field? I'll show you. Because now is time for us to summon our Link monster. And for these Xyz monsters, they all require, like, for example, Forstrix, it's level 4 monster, right? But for our Link monster, it has a generic requirement of 2 Darkwing Beasts. Doesn't care about the level. So Heal Eagle is our standard target for Strix. And when he's in the grave, you can banish him, and then you can get 1 Raidraptor spell or trap that's in the grave back to your hand. So if your opponent gets rid of Raidraptor's Nest and Heal Eagle's in the grave, you can get Raidraptor's Nest back to your hand, which is really great. And that's why we have Heal Eagle as a 1-of in this deck, to search for him, get him on the field, get Strix using him. Boom. Okay, now we got Strix on the field. We can use Strix effect to special summon a monster from the deck to the field. Typically, the kind of monster that you want to summon from the deck to the field is a monster that has a graveyard effect. The reason for that is because Strix, whatever monster you summon, is going to negate the effect of that monster. So if we were to summon Vanishing Lanius, we can't use his effect to special summon another monster from our hand. So you want to go for something that has a graveyard effect, or something that you would otherwise have to normal summon. A great target is always Raider's Wing. So he's a good go-to target if you're unsure. Raider's Wing, because you can always use him again from the grave, right? And so now at this point, we can go for a Xyz summon. Okay, so now we activate our Forstrix effect to ditch a material and get another card from our deck to our hand, right? And so a good option at this point is Strangle Lanius, The reason is because when we start doing rank up magics and our Dark Xyz monsters have Dark Xyz monsters as material, he has a second effect which allows you to bring a card back from the grave to the field. So we'll grab Strangulanius. When we activate our Xyz monster, that'll trigger Y-Strix effect, and Y-Strix will let us grab a rank up magic card and set it on the field. I like to try to get either Raidraptor or Raid Magic Skip Force, Raid rank up magic Raid Force. The reason I like to go for this one a lot is because it allows you to recycle rank up magic that's in your grave. So if you've used a bunch of rank up magic or you plan to, this is a great card to have in your grave already because it lets you reuse them. These other quick plays are really good if you want to set them and maybe like save it for your next turn or something like that. But we're gonna go ahead and grab this is what I would consider the standard Raidraptor rank up magic card. All right, and there's so many more options, right? We can use Zexial Construction to get another rank up magic card to our hand. We can summon, we can Monster Reborn and continue our combos. We can summon Strangulanius. Just so much to do. We have a graveyard effect we can activate with Raider's Wing. That's the great thing about this deck is there's no singular combo or single thing that you're always trying to do consistently. It gives you the ability to be creative and try to make plays on your own instead of following, you know, some kind of combo guide that you try to do every single duel, right? For me, that gameplay kind of gets stale, which is why I enjoy decks like this, right? So we'll activate our rank of magic and turn 4 Strix into a Stranger Falcon. Stranger Falcon has an ability where once per turn you can detach and you can target a monster and pop it. So we're going to do that. And whatever monster you decide to pop, you'll also inflict their attack points as damage to their opponent's life points. So you just lost 1400 for that. Great card. And in addition, if you happen to leave it on your field and your opponent goes and he destroys it by battle or card effect, you could target any Raidraptor Xyz monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So if you have like your Ultimate Falcon or something in the grave, you can use him to bring it back. So great card, very underrated. He's one of my early game targets, and then if I need to use him again, we can use Raidraptor's Nest and put him from the grave back into the extra deck. Okay, so we use his ability now, and we have a Xyz monster with a Dark Xyz monster as material, so we can use the second effect of Strangulanius. Strangulanius' first effect allows him to be special summoned like I just did when there's a Raidraptor on the field. We'll activate his effect, and whatever monster that we decide to special summon, his effect is negated, so we can't continue to extend with Vanishing Lanius, sadly. So what we'll do is we'll get Raider's Wing, because if we use him and then ditch him to the grave again, we still get to use his graveyard effect, which is a once per turn effect, right? And we still haven't used it yet, so we're really going to bring him back again one more time. And what's crazy is that we still have Swallow's Nest in our hand. We can ditch either one of these cards and get another Raidraptor that you might want. So many options. It's great. Okay, so what you can do at this point is we can go for another 4 Strix if we want. Boom, boom. And you don't have to do this at this point, right? If we want to go the minimal route, you would just rank up our level 5 here. So we're gonna use our 4 Strix searching. Boom, boom. Ditch Raider's Wing and get a card in our hand. Maybe we want one for next turn, right? So let's grab Booster Strix. He's a great hand trap to have. And now we will, so we see, as you see, we still have his graveyard effect. And now we will activate Rank Up Magic Skip Force on our level 5. And turn him into Arsenal Falcon. Now, right now, we can OTK if we want, because we can attack twice. Because if this card has any number of Raidraptor monsters as materials, it can attack up to that many times during the battle phase. So this would be 55k or 5500 damage, 1400 damage, and if we need more, to get Monster Reborn. If we're really trying to just be minimal and go for the kill, we can do so many things. But what I want to show you here is one of the most important pieces of this combo, because with Arsenal Falcon, a lot of other decks that include Phantom Knights will link him away for Bardiche, or use Bardish's effect to pop Arsenal Falcon. But if you're not running Phantom Knights, how do you pop Arsenal Falcon? Okay, there's a couple different things you can do. You can link again and get a second Y-Strix, right? You can do Y-Strix and Arsenal, link him away, and then Arsenal Falcon's effect in the graveyard will activate, which allows us to special summon one Raidraptor Ixie and get to our beloved Ultimate Falcon. That's one way. My preferred way is using Arsenal Falcon's ability here, ditch one of these materials, and we get our one of card Necro Vulture here. Okay, now before you use Necro Vulture's effect, you need to be sure that this is going to be kind of one of the last things you want to do. Okay, what Necro Vulture does is he allows you to tribute any Raidraptor on the field, and then target one rank up magic spell card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. But he has a caveat where if you can no longer Ixie summon for the rest of the turn, except with the effect of a rank up magic card. So no more overlaying cards. So you have to be sure that this is the last thing that you want to do. Excuse me. So let's take a look at our grave. We have Monster Reborn, right? Is there anything else that we want to do? I think we're okay for now. Sexio Construction, if we want to use it, we would end up getting another rank up card, which is okay, because Necro Vulture says we can use rank up cards. Is there any more overlaying you want to do? All right, so you would look at the grave at this point. You can get this guy back, make another 4 Strix. You can make another, you can make a Rise Falcon. We could get, pretty much that's the only other overlaying that we can do, right? The only other, like at this point you want to ask, do I need to make any more rank 4s, right? Because those are the cards you're primary overlaying. Sometimes you can overlay to make a rank 5 using Mimicry Lanius, but for now we have no other cards that we really care to overlay. Could make another 4 Strix if we want, don't need to. So we're going to activate Necro Vulture's effect, and we're going to pop Arsenal Falcon, like so. Okay? And what he does is he allows us to get another, this will allow us to recycle any rank of magic in our grave. Necro Vulture's effect, that's what his effect is. And for us, take a look at our other card in the field. It's a rank 4, and we can decide, do we want to rank it up once or twice? All right, so we want to rank it up twice. The Revolution Falcon's a little bit better right now. Blaze Falcon doesn't really have a purpose at this point because he has no monsters, right? So so we'll go for rank up magic, skip force, get it back to our hand. Now we get to activate Arsenal Falcon. Boom. And what's really cool is if people called by on Arsenal Falcon, you'll still summon Ultimate Falcon. You just won't have any material. So now, because of Arsenal Falcon, since he was sent to the grave with a Raidraptor Xyz monster as material, we can summon another Raidraptor from our extra deck. We go Ultimate Falcon. This is our big mana jamma, our big boss monster. He's the guy that you want, especially, you know, going second, going forward in the duel, right? And now, I mean, just so many options, so many extenders, someone Swallow's Nest, get rid of him, get Monster Reborn him. We can, so many things, right? And that's what I love about this deck. All right, so we can go here, rank up. Rank up our rank 4 into a rank 6 Revolution Falcon. Really underrated boss monster. Has won me a lot of duels. We could, if you needed to, use Skip Force one more time, right? Let's say you wanted to turn it into a Satellite Cannon Falcon because they have a back row, right? No monsters, but they have a big back row, or they have a card in the back row you're scared of. You could follow an example like this, right? We could take rank up magic Raid Force and use its graveyard effect to banish it and a Raidraptor from your hand. All right, we banish it. And now we get to reuse Skip Force again. Which is crazy. So much reusing and so much recycling. It's so much fun. Use rank up magic Skip Force. And we can take Revolution and turn them into Satellite Cannon Falcon. One of the best monsters in this deck. He is our Harpy's Feather Duster of the deck. Right, so as soon as you summon him, it'll prompt you, ask you if you want to use his effect to destroy out their back row. You'll say yes. And the crazy thing is that what makes him better than an average Harpy's Feather Duster is that your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this, right? So you can always pop their back row, no questions asked. Goodbye, Eldritch. So I love Satellite Cannon for that reason. And his second effect is a quick effect, which you can chain multiple times to each other to target one card face up on the field, and it loses 800 attack for each Raidraptor monster in your graveyard. You have a ton of Raidraptors in your graveyard at this point. Any monster that's on the field is probably going to turn to 0 attack if you use Satellite Cannon's effect on them. Really awesome. Another great thing, so Ultimate Falcon, he's the most infamous card of Raidraptors, the most famous one. Everyone knows kind of like what he does, but if you don't, the reason we want to try and get him on our field is because he's unaffected by other card effects. A really strong ability. And then if you detach one material from this card, for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects, and their monsters lose 1,000 attack. But the most important part of that is that your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. So if you're going for an OTK, detach that material, baby. And now they really can't do anything. You've popped their back row. You don't have to worry about hand traps or graveyard effects. They're toast at this point, right? And we can do so much more at this point if we need to. We can summon Raider's Wing from the graveyard, overlay him with Necro, make another rank 4. We can Swallow's Nest on this guy, get a Tribute Lanius, destroy, if they have a monster, destroy it, and then we'll get another rank up magic card. We can use Zexial Construction, get a rank up magic card to our hand. I mean, endless stuff that you can do with this deck, right? But right now, we're in OTK position, and anime style says once you're ready to attack, you attack. So, boom. Boom. And boom. This is going to be your standard combo line for Raidraptors. Your standard combo line is going to be get 3 Raidraptors on the field, link into Y-Strix, get the rank up magic card you need set from your deck to your hand, or from deck to field, and work your way towards getting Ultimate Falcon. Use your other cards that are not Ultimate Falcon, or whatever card you're trying to get to Ultimate Falcon. Overlay some other cards, make another 4 Strix, and work those cards up towards your other boss monsters. Your rank 5s, your rank 6s, your rank 8s, your rank 7, your rank 10. All this stuff, you want to try and rank up as many cards as you can so that you can use all the other effects. In this duel, we got to use so many effects. If you take a look at the deck, we went through 4 Strix. We went through Stranger. You can also go through Blaze if you want to. We had Revolution Falcon. We had Arsenal Falcon. We had Satellite Cannon Falcon. We had Ultimate Falcon, right? You want to try to rank up these cards along the way to try to break your opponent's board, right? And then that's basically you're going for OTK with this deck. And so this is the example deck that I have here. Let me know if there's, if there's any other combos you want to see, or more kind of videos or tutorials on this. It's really hard to kind of say this is the specific combo you should be going for, because this deck is not one that aims to make a really strong board that you need to break, because there's no negations. This is a deck that's meant to build a tower in Ultimate Falcon. I even recommend having 2 in here. I just have 1 only, but I have 2 Satellite Cannon Falcons, so that's why I have 2 of him. But if you have 2, add 2. Your goal is to get as many Ultimate Falcons on the field and use all these other rank 5s, rank 6, rank 7, rank 8 to break the opponent's board, or even this rank 4 here. Break your opponent's board and push for OTK. right? And so that's how we use this deck. In the slideshow, I'll have it linked down below in the description, as well as a Discord that I just created today, which if you have questions about this deck or you want to try and work together to make other really cool pure decks that can try to compete with meta, I would love to work together with any viewer of this video. So I'm going to link the Discord down below as well. I hope you enjoyed this combo tutorial. There's so many more lines that we could have done. You have Cattle's Call, you have Last Strix, so many options. So I suggest reading all the different cards and seeing what you can do. Raidraptor Readiness is an amazing trap that can save you because you can banish it and you take no damage that turn, right? So it can stop an OTK from happening. Swallow's Nest, like I said, we didn't use in that duel, but you could have. Zexial Construction or Rank Up Searcher, Raidraptor's Call, summon more Raidraptors to the field, Cattle's Call, cheese out an XC monster, then use a rank up on it. Literally so much. Booster Tricks, amazing hand trap. Necro Vulture, key part of the combo to pop Arsenal Falcon. Not 100% necessary. You can always link him away and make using Y-Strix, but it's great because you get to recycle and rank up magic along the way. Soul Shave Force, a really great card I like to save as like a last resort. Cuts half your life points, lets you get a rank up or an XC monster from the grave, and rank it up 2 ranks higher. So there's rank 6 in the grave. You would use Soul Shave, and you get a Satellite Cannon Falcon, or a Satellite Cannon Falcon can become an Ultimate Falcon. I mean, there's just so much. If you have any questions, like I said, below will be the Discord. Feel free to reach out to me for any questions, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The next one is going to be me using this deck in ranked with the last entertainment style videos that I've done to show you guys how it can kind of compete against some of the potentially more meta decks, depending on how far I can get with it. But until then, hope you enjoyed.